4 guitar myths. Myth 1. You must start on acoustic. Specifically, people will say you should start on acoustic because it's harder to press down on the strings, and then it will be easier to switch to electric later on. This rationale is specifically the part I take issue with, for a few reasons. Mainly, I've never met someone good at electric guitar who struggles to press down the strings on an acoustic guitar. Like, do you really think someone like Steve Vai struggles to press down the strings on an acoustic? It's ridiculous. Furthermore, my main goal as a teacher is to help people get through the early stages of the guitar. I want it to be as easy as possible to go from no knowledge to playing something that sounds good. 90% of guitar players quit within the first year, so we certainly don't need to make the initial stages harder than they already are. Think of it like weightlifting. You wouldn't tell someone to start with the heavy weights so that when you move on to light weights, it'll be easier, right? Same thing for guitar. That said, there are good reasons to start with acoustic. Electric guitars are usually heavier than acoustics, so I find young children who start with electric guitars, even half-size electric guitars, can have trouble holding up the instrument correctly. Additionally, I like the instant access of acoustic guitars. For some people, the difference between having a guitar that you can just pick up and play and having a guitar that you need to plug into an amp can be the difference between practicing and not practicing. So acoustics have that advantage. Lastly, and I think the best reason for starting on acoustic is because you simply like music that uses acoustic guitars. Like if you're super into Metallica, probably start on electric, but if you're super into Adrian Lenker, start on acoustic. Second myth, capos are just for noobs. This myth comes from the idea that capos are used to get around playing bar chords. This is a valid use of capos, but there are many reasons more advanced players may use them. One of the things that makes the guitar special is the open strings, and using a capo allows you to use open strings and keys that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. Check out some bluegrass players for examples of advanced playing with a capo. Third myth, you must learn to read music. I think reading music is fun personally, but I definitely wouldn't recommend that every guitar player learn how to do it. The reality is tabs are a more intuitive system of notation. I'd argue that if I gave someone a guitar and some tabs, they could figure out how the tabs work on their own with no prior knowledge. But if I did the same with standard notation, they likely would never figure out how it works. Again, I want the early stages of guitar playing to go as smoothly as possible, and I want people playing songs sooner rather than later, so tabs are appealing to that end. There are lots of good reasons to learn to read, however. If you're still young and think of playing guitar in school, like in high school jazz band, for example, you need to learn how to read. Really, if you're playing jazz in general, you should probably learn to read, and same goes for classical guitar and musical theater guitar. If you're just playing rock, it isn't really necessary, but if you're interested in it, I say go for it. You'll get a base of music theory knowledge that will help you communicate with other musicians. If you only want the music theory knowledge, you could still learn it just by learning the notes on the guitar, especially maybe the notes on the sixth and fifth strings, and learning how rhythms work a little bit, like quarter notes and half notes. That will allow you to communicate with like drummers, for example. You don't need to learn everything about reading just to learn those basic things about music theory. Last myth, and this is kind of a general one, but I want you all to be very skeptical of anyone preaching that you have to learn a certain thing on guitar or do things a certain way on guitar. You're going to get a lot of content out there that says things like, you must learn this on guitar, simply because it makes for a good title for content, I think. But the reality is there are really so many different ways to do things on the guitar. Always remember that the guitar is simply a tool to create art. As such, there is no one path to mastering it. Follow your curiosity. This is probably true with any instrument, but it's especially important on guitar because it's such a versatile instrument. You can play lots of different genres on the guitar, and even just the layout of the guitar itself, with so many unisons and its ability to play chords or to play single notes, means that you can take the guitar in a variety of different directions. Find what interests you on the guitar and pursue it. Let me know if I missed any myths and whether you agree with my takes or not in the comments below.